Just a quick message for the guys who are using AI for coaching and therapy. Now, I'm not saying AI isn't useful. Be very careful when you do use AI for coaching and therapy as a man. The problem I've seen on AI is that a lot of AI is trained on feminine content, feminine narrative, feminine experience. Why? The reason is most women are very vocal about relationships. We know this. In a social situation, most women are talking about people. They're very curious about people. They're curious about relationships. I mean, if you look at magazines, you will see that most magazines for women are on people. Most magazines for guys are on things, cars, boats, airplanes, guns, all these things, based more on things. So the feminine is very much focused on relationships. And they're very vocal about this. And when they're vocal, they're upset, they're angry, they are going to voice that. So the feminine heals, or the feminine distresses by vocalizing. That's how it reduces its cortisol levels, stress levels, by expressing. Constant expression helps women to bring their nervous system down. Now, if a man does constant expressing, at some point he's going to get more stressed. This is why when guys are stressed and you tell them to express more, he kind of shuts down and he says, I need my own space. I need my cave time. This is most certainly true for me and a lot of the men I work for, is when I'm disturbed, when I'm in, say, experiencing difficulty in life, I need cave time. I don't need anybody to go into inquiry. I don't need anyone to ask me questions. I just need some alone time just to process it all. And then when I'm ready, then I will express. And then I might just express if I need to. The feminine world is, and again, when I say the feminine world, I also mean men who are quite emotional, quite on the feminine spectrum. They will express and they will just, especially on social media, they will just write. I'm in part of many relationship dating groups as well on, say, for example, Facebook. And you can see that the expression for women is just endless. And they use far more words than guys do. They use far more emotions than men do. And when talking as well, women use more words than guys do. And again, these are scientifically proven as well. So AI, again, has very much the feminine template, feminine training, feminine data. And again, when I'm writing content for, say, my social media, I notice that when I put into AI just to check its grammar, check its spelling, I'm hideous at those two things. I notice that AI kind of changes the message. It kind of makes it all more nice and friendly and all-inclusive. So it very much changes the tone of it, and it makes it very soft, more feminine, more nurturing, more gentle. Whereas in the masculine world, and I'm not saying there's no space for that, but at some points I need to be able to, say, logically connect with the guys. So guys love to connect on a logical level, and women tend to connect more on an emotional level. And again, I'm generalizing here. I'm saying, therefore, this is why women say, where are the guys? They're emotionally unavailable. Guys are saying, on the other hand, is women are logically unavailable. I know I've had a lot of experiences in my relationships where I've tried to put facts and figures and data in front of my exes, and especially my ex-wife, and then she's like, we're still having an argument. I'm like, the data's there. Why is this an argument? Again, because I'm missing the emotions for her, and then she's missing the logic. So emotionally, I'm not picking up the clues. She's not picking up the clues logically. So when you guys are using AI for therapy, for counseling, for coaching as a man, be very mindful that it's not turning into mama's boy. And the mama's boy is men who are raised very much on the feminine world, the feminine template, how the feminine sees the world, how the feminine processes, handles the emotions. Now, I'm not saying it's all bad, but I'm saying that they have different defaults to, say, for example, most men would. An example is, I remember I'm walking home with the kids, got two boys, and I'm walking with, their mum as well. So four of us are walking, and the boys are being really rough, and they want to get like real, physical with each other. And the mum is like in panic. I'm like, it's okay. Let them have that ruffle and tumble. That's how boys connect. That's a way to connect. As a female psychologist says that if you really want to connect to a young boy, is you rough and tumble with them. You play like that. That's how men communicate. It's very physical. And that's how we can show our affection and our connection, is through that physical means. So the world is a bit different for men and a bit different for women. And this is something that the ego really has a problem of trying to see their world. We struggle to really see each other's world. Women are still saying, men are really complicated. And guys are saying women are really complicated. Only because we are functioning from our own software. And that software then only show you your perspective. What you can do is just learn to see and emulate the other person's software. And a way we can do that is through, for example, for women, I ask this question to women a lot. I said, how many books have you read on men, for men, by men? 99% of women say none. Then I ask the guys who are going through personal development, going through a journey, improving their attraction, their skills, how many books have you read on women? 99% of them have. They will read books on, because they're really looking for women's approval. They're looking to impress women. They're looking to build attraction. So they really want to know, what is it that will build attraction? What is it that she sees and wants? So they're really inquiring into that. And they'll read a lot of books about women, by women, for women as well. And all the guys I work with, I'm guiding them to always just step out from ourselves. Now, when you have AI supporting you, the problem is that it'll give its feminine perspective, because the vast data has been expressed by women, which is where it's trained on. So be really mindful of that. You do not build this mummy's boy. And this mummy's boys happens is because you're grown up around women. You go to school and most teachers are women. Your nursery is most women. And that feminine, unconscious, constant programming happens. Now, when you really want to heal as a man and you want to go from boy to man, that psychological transmutation, that change requires other men. And a mum can raise a boy to be a great boy. She cannot raise him to be a man. This triggers a lot of women. Please put your ego aside. Don't take it personally. That's just an evolution development of men. Men show men how to be men. Women can, of course, teach a lot of values, a lot of kindness, a lot of respect. Of course, you can teach that. But let me give you an example of why women cannot take men to be men. When I was going through my own journey of healing my own over-feminized development, one of the things is as over-feminized developed, or the nice guy, is that you're uncomfortable around strong masculine men. And by spending more time with women, you're not going to get that, you're not going to build that comfort. So you have to immerse yourself, really be in that environment where there's a lot of male masculine energy, but conscious energy. I'm not talking about locker room. I'm not talking about the kind of stuff that you just get with unconscious men. I'm talking about around conscious men who will challenge you, push you, talk about psychology, talk about emotions. They will just talk a whole spectrum. They're very emotionally intelligent. They are very aware of self-awareness, psychology, philosophy, and they have this real insight about them. Again, like Stoicism, highly emotionally intelligent, because in Stoicism, you have to learn about emotions, thoughts, self-awareness, other people's awareness. Now, when you're around this environment, you're also working on something that you cannot work on. I believe you can't work on it. I'm sure it might change in the future, but at the moment, I don't see it, is working on your shame. So when we have a lot of shame, a lot of sexual shame, if you've read any books about shame, there's some really good books like John Bradshaw's book, Bernie Brown's book on shame. And the thing about shame is that it grows in secrecy. It grows by keeping it hidden. So you might have some sexual activities that you're really embarrassed of, ashamed of. You might have done things in relationships. You might have done things in private, outside relationships that you're really ashamed of. And then you feel like I'm the only person who is wrong and evil. But when you get into an environment where there's other men, you will notice that I'm not the only one. And this was so true for me as well. There were so many experiences, especially after my divorce. I felt like I was wrong. I was showing up in my relationships as not a great person. I was becoming very anxious, very avoidant. And then I realized okay, I wasn't the only one. And it sometimes is quite natural human behavior, or sometimes not quite common in men, to have a certain pattern and then certain pattern in women. So for example, in men, it's quite common that they shut down, they don't want to ask for help, they don't want to expose their vulnerabilities. Again, I've seen that in women too, and vice versa. And again, I'm just generalizing here. So when you use AI, you don't really work on your shame because it's a machine that you're looking at. You're not looking at another human being that who is going to see you. And we need that process of being seen. And now what happens is that when you're seen, the shame is then given light, and the power of shame then starts to fade away. What happens is that if you don't work on your shame, it just builds up, and then it pops. That's when you see a lot of self-sabotaging behavior. That's when you see a lot of addictions. That's when you see a lot of extreme dysfunctional behavior, maybe, excessive drinking, excessive gambling, excessive sex, excessive shopping, excessive spending, anything like that becomes highly extreme because you've spent a lot of time building that pressure to hide that shame. So AI isn't really going to help you put a shine on your flaws, because if you say to AI, hey, I've been going through this, and AI says, yeah, me too, like, you're a machine, how are you going to experience that? But when you hear other men say, well, you know what, I've had those addictions, I've had those flaws, I've had those thoughts, it's just an instant relief. And I remember in my own therapy and my coaching journey, when I heard other guys say that, it was just like a green light for me to just like process it, accept my dark side, and then start to integrate that side. AI misses those points. There's a lot of YouTube videos about like psychologists versus AI, and then AI is really missing quite a few points. Will it catch up in years? I'm sure it will. But the only thing that AI at the moment, and maybe in the future, could probably never do, is give that energy, human energy, that feeling, mirror neurons that are activated. So for example, if somebody's excited, someone's got high energy, high testosterone, it kind of like builds your energy up. You're not going to get that necessarily from AI. Maybe in about 200-300 years time, there'll be things that are implanted in our brains that can probably mimic and manipulate our emotions. But in the meantime, what you can do is really use AI, but just be very cautious. And you can also upload a lot of masculine kind of like books and theories and documents, and make sure that your AI comes from a place as a masculine coach. So that is one way. But again, AI, I have had debates with AI. I've used it for critical thinking. AI completely misses a lot of points that the wise elder men who've experienced relationships, who've experienced divorce, who've had kids, raised kids, it misses those real reference points, those real points in life and experiences, those emotions. And when you connect with somebody on a real emotional level, you feel safe, you feel seen, you feel like you're not alone. And so many men are so afraid, so alone, so isolated. And now you're going towards AI, which is even still further isolating you more. And it's like a pseudo feeling of like, yeah, okay, cool. Somebody's listening to me. I'm developing feelings for it. I know people who have developed feelings and connections with their machine as well. AI is perfect for avoidance, and it's, like a a great place for avoidance to really not look at the places and be challenged. So be very mindful. What I suggest for a lot of men is really pick up the masculine template and then bring a good balance. I'm not saying you just have one or the other. Most guys are increasing in their feminine and they're weakening in their masculine. One of the signs of weak masculine energy is you don't want to approach women. You're afraid of rejection. You're really not doing the hard work with that. So really increase your masculine energy through challenge, through other men. Because remember this, iron sharpens iron. So iron sharpens iron. So you need to be around other men, and testosterone is contagious. When other men feel strong, leadership, and you can also witness leadership. You can also witness and learn from modeling. This is an important thing as well. A lot of men kind of need other men to model certain behaviors. I've had some great men who've had modeled some real great confidence, assertiveness, authority, and then it's kind of like helped me to train and witness that, to again use that myself. So gentlemen, again, just be very mindful of AI. And again, AI is very much trained in the feminine narrative because of high data and volume from the feminine women, expressing their emotions and their desires and their needs and wants. And if you keep getting a lot of coaching, a lot of therapy, a lot of training from AI, then you are just going to strengthen your feminine side a lot more. And that feminine side is highly repulsive to feminine women. Masculine women will like it because that will, give her the authority, the power that she needs to be able to dominate a feminine man. But that's not the relationship dynamic that you really want to create, which creates harmony. So like in Stoicism, it says, you want to go towards temperance, and then the more we go towards nature, the more harmony and peace and less anxious that we are. All right. I hope this helps. Stay charismatic.